Kai and the Warrior Crow. The story is about a boy named Kai who is small for his age, but his backpack is huge, filled with books. Every day, the walk home meant passing Leo and his friends, who liked to call him Tiny and shake the fence he had to walk by. One afternoon, they surrounded him. "What's in the bag, Tiny?" "Rocks," Leo sneered, grabbing for the strap. Kai's heart hammered. He closed his eyes, waiting for the shove. But it never came. Instead, a sharp caw cut through the air. A large, glossy black crow landed on the fence post right between Kai and the bullies. It wasn't squawking randomly. It stood tall, feathers puffed out like sleek armor, and fixed Leo with a dark, intelligent eye. It let out another cry, a low, guttural sound that was more warning than call. "Get lost, bird," Leo said, but he took a step back. The crow didn't flinch. It hopped down onto the sidewalk, placing itself squarely between the boys. It tilted its head, and for a moment, Kai saw not just a bird, but a guardian. A warrior, small but fearless. Leo laughed nervously and reached for Kai's bag again. Snap! The crow's beak moved like lightning, not to bite, but to sharply tap the metal zipper on Leo's jacket. The sound was sharp and surprising. Leo jerked his hand back, stunned. The crow then did something strange. It strutted in a small, proud circle, its chest puffed out. It wasn't attacking, it was showing off. It was showing that being small didn't mean being weak. It meant being clever, being bold, and using what you had. Leo and his friends stared, confused and a little spooked. The crow gave one final, commanding caw and spread its wings, looking suddenly much larger. "Whatever, this is weird," Leo muttered, and with a nudge to his friends he turned and left. Kai stood alone on the path, the crow now still and watching him. As Kai shouldered his backpack, the crow hopped onto the fence and dropped something at his feet. It was a single, dark, iridescent feather. Kai picked it up. He looked at the crow, who gave a soft, clicking sound, then launched into the sky. Kai wasn't tiny. He was like the crow. He didn't need to be the biggest. He just needed to be brave, clever, and hold his head high. He walked the rest of the way home, the black feather held tightly in his hand, a reminder from a warrior in feathers. The black feather was tucked safely in Kai's math book, a secret token. He walked a little taller now, but the big, empty lot behind the old community center still made him nervous. It was where the older kids sometimes hung out, and the chain-link fence was always rattling in the wind. Today, a different sound came from the lot, a frantic, high-pitched whimpering. Kai peered through the fence. His classmate, Mia, was on her knees, her face pale. Her new puppy, Bingo, had squeezed through a hole in the fence, but his leash had gotten tangled in a pile of rusty junk. The little dog was yelping, pulling against the leash, terrified by a loose piece of metal that clanged every time he moved. "It's okay, Bingo. I'm here," Mia cried, but she couldn't fit through the hole to reach him. Kai looked around. No adults, Leo, and his friends were nowhere to be seen. It was just him. His newfound courage felt very small. He couldn't lift the heavy junk. He was still, Kai-sized. A shadow passed over him. On the highest bar of the community center's roof, the crow stood, a silent silhouette against the sun. It watched. Kai's heart sank. Be brave, he thought, but what could he do? The crow let out a single, soft caw. It wasn't a cry of warning. It was instructive. It hopped along the roof's edge, tilting its head, looking not at the problem, but at the tangled leash. Kai followed its gaze. The problem wasn't the heavy junk. The problem was the knot. He scrambled to the hole in the fence. "Mia, the leash. Can you untie it from your side?" Mia's hands were shaking too much. "I can't. It's too tight." The crow swooped down, landing gracefully on the tangled junk pile inside the lot. It didn't scare the puppy. It simply studied the knot with its sharp, dark eyes. It pecked once, not at the leash, but at a loose end of rope nearby, as if demonstrating. Kai understood. "Don't pull it. Just hold the leash still," he instructed Mia. He squeezed his own arm through the fence, his fingers stretching, straining, He couldn't lift the metal, but he could just reach the knot. He focused, working his fingers not against the tightness, but finding the loop that would loosen it. The crow stood guard, a quiet sentinel. With a final twist, the knot gave way. The leash went slack. Bingo, free, bounded joyfully back through the hole to Mia, who scooped him up, crying with relief. Kai pulled his arm back, a smile breaking across his face. He looked up at the crow. It dipped its head once, then took flight, its wings beating a strong, silent rhythm against the blue sky. He had learned a second lesson from the warrior crow. True strength isn't about size or force. It's about seeing the solution others miss. It's about untying the knot, not fighting the mountain. Alara and the Magpie. Alara was a small girl with a big secret. In her pockets, she carried treasures, a smooth gray pebble, a shiny bottle cap, and a tiny chipped button. Every day on her way home from school, she passed the big old oak tree where the other children played. "What's in your pockets, Alara?" a boy named Jake would call out. "More junk?" One afternoon, they surrounded her, laughing. "Let's see your treasures," another boy said, reaching for her pocket. Alara's heart fluttered like a trapped butterfly. Just as the boy's hand got close, a flash of black and white swooped down. It was a magpie, landing on a branch above them. It let out a sharp, chattering cry. The magpie, whose name was Pip, wasn't just squawking, it was watching. It tilted its head, and Alara saw a glint in its eye. It was a warrior, small but fearless, just like her treasures. Jake laughed nervously. "Get lost, bird," he said, but he took a step back. Pip ignored him. Instead, it dropped something shiny from its beak. Plink! It was a tiny, sparkling piece of glass. The other children's eyes followed the sparkle. "Look," one of them said. Pip dropped another piece, and then another, leading them on a little chase away from Alara. Alara stood alone. She looked down at her hands, then at her pockets. Her treasures weren't junk. They were her collection. She wasn't tiny. She was clever, and she was brave. When the other children finally gave up and left, Pip returned. It landed on the ground and dropped a single, iridescent feather at Alara's feet. Alara picked up the feather. It was a gift from a warrior in feathers, a reminder that her treasures were her strength and her smallness was her secret superpower. She walked the rest of the way home, holding her head high.